Survey logic, otherwise called skip logic, is a way of customizing the survey flow so that you can direct your respondents to different follow-up questions based on their previous answers. It is one of the best techniques to boost response rate and prevent survey fatigue. I'm Sabina, a content manager at Survicate. Today we are going to look at what survey logic is and how to set it up easily. So what is survey logic? Survey logic changes survey behavior and content based on the respondents' answers. It is a mechanism that ensures respondents see all of the questions that are relevant to them, but they won't see any questions that are not relevant to them. A very simple example is the NPS survey. The NPS question asks, how likely are you to recommend us to a friend or colleague? There are 11 options, numbers from 0 to 10. Respondents who choose 0 to 6 are your NPS detractors, 7 and 8 are passives, and 9 and 10 are your promoters. This question allows you to track your NPS as a metric, but doesn't really provide any actionable insights. So, it often has follow-up questions. But it's hard to design a follow-up question that would be tailor-made for your promoters, passives, and detractors. So you set up survey logic to make sure each of these groups sees a different follow-up question. But in this instance, survey logic also gives you another benefit. The text answers to the follow-up questions for each of these groups will already be sorted into passives, detractors, and promoters, so you can delegate them to different teams and prioritize your roadmap. Let's have a look at how survey logic is set up in the NPS template by Survicate. We have the first question, and we have 3 follow-ups. The first question has 3 rules. If the answer is between 0 and 6, you can ask your detractors what made them choose such a low score. If the answer is between 7 and 8, we ask what kind of things we can do to improve. And if the answer is between 9 and 10, we can ask what they most like about our product. Then each follow-up question has one more additional rule to end the survey. Otherwise, the respondents will still have to go through all of the questions before finishing the survey. We also recommend you create a separate flow for your promoters. For example, a thank you screen that would send them to a third-party site to leave a positive, obviously because they're satisfied, review. Card, one of our customers, did exactly that. They redirected their NPS promoters, so those who gave them a 9 or a 10, to leave a rating on Trustpilot. And they went from 4.2 to 4.8. Now that you know what survey logic is, let's have a look at how to set it up. We'll go for a different customer satisfaction question, the classic CSAT. The CSAT question is always something along the lines of, how satisfied are you with this particular product? It is usually measured on a 5-point rating scale. So let's add the CSAT question from the question library. How satisfied are you with our product? And let's choose the classic CSAT text buttons. Let's divide these into 3 groups and add 3 follow-up questions. We'll also add question introductions to make the respondent experience even more personalized. So for our dissatisfied customers, let's add the introduction, sorry to hear that. And then the question would be, what should we improve? And this will be a text question. For the passives, let's say, is there anything we should improve? And for your most satisfied customers, let's say, great to hear that. The question will be, the biggest value you get from using our product, so you can learn about your USP. And let's go into the logic settings for the first question, and let's add 3 rules. 1 for our satisfied customers, 1 for the passive ones, and 1 more for the dissatisfied customers. And we'll also add our survey logic to our follow-up question. And for the last one, we don't have to add the rule because it is the last one and no questions follow. Another thing you can do in Survicate is to use the recalling of information. So your follow-up questions could also ask something like, why have you decided to rate us with this particular score? And you choose at. You want to recall from the first question, and you can also add a fallback. So if for any reason the information recalling isn't working, you can just say this for enter. And let's test that. And there you can see what made you choose 5. You can find the CSAT question in the question bank and the entire template in the gallery. The logic will already be set up, but you'll be able to adjust it if there's any need to do that. With Survicate, you can even set up survey logic for text answer questions. For example, if you have a follow-up NPS question for your unhappy customers and they mention the particular word like customer service, then you can set up a flow that would be appropriate. For example, which service agent did you contact? Then you can really narrow down on those pain points and act quickly. Survey logic in Survicate is available for all question types except the welcome message, so your introduction and the thank you screen. Link and email surveys as well as website surveys will have some additional capabilities compared to what you can do with in-app or intercom chat surveys.